I never thought I'd find myself standing in my office at Maxwell Industries on a rainy Tuesday afternoon, staring at a cardboard box that now held 5 years of my career. The corner office I'd earned through countless late nights and sacrificed weekends felt suddenly foreign, like I was looking at it through someone else's eyes. "You have an hour to clear out," Robert Maxwell said from the doorway, his expensive suit perfectly pressed, his smile carrying that particular brand of corporate cruelty I'd become all too familiar with. "Sarah will be taking over your position effective immediately." Sarah, my younger sister, the golden child who had never worked a day in her life until 6 months ago, when she decided she wanted to try her hand at the corporate world. Of course, she started directly as a senior manager, courtesy of her friendship with Katherine Maxwell, Robert's daughter. I carefully placed my awards into the box: Regional Manager of the Year, 3 years running; Top Performance in Sales, 2022, 2023, and 2024. Each accolade a testament to the dedication they were now discarding. "Don't forget to hand over your building access card," Robert added, clearly enjoying this moment. "We wouldn't want any unfortunate incidents." My building access card. I suppressed a smile as I pulled it from my lanyard, remembering the real estate deed safely stored in my home office safe. Phoenix Holdings LC, the company through which I owned this entire building, was my most carefully guarded secret. Not even my sister knew that her big brother was her landlord. "Of course, Mr. Maxwell," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Though I should remind you that the quarterly rent review is coming up. I'm sure you've received the notice from Phoenix Holdings." Robert waved his hand dismissively. Yes. Sarah will handle all that now. She's much more diplomatic than you. I'm sure she'll negotiate a better rate." If he only knew. The notice I'd sent yesterday, carefully timed for this exact moment, wasn't about a review. It was about the hidden clause in their lease agreement, the one that gave the building owner the right to terminate all tenancy with 24 hours notice if certain conditions were met. Conditions like failing to maintain proper corporate governance, such as wrongful termination. I placed my last personal item in the box, a small silver frame holding a photo of my grandfather. He was standing in front of this very building 30 years ago, back when it was just an abandoned warehouse in a forgotten part of the city. One day, he had told me, people will realize that true power isn't about having the biggest office. It's about owning the ground beneath their feet. I was 12 when he said those words. By 15, I was studying real estate law in my spare time. By 22, I had incorporated Phoenix Holdings using the money he left me. And by 25, I owned this building, leasing it to Maxwell Industries at a surprisingly reasonable rate. Not because I needed their money, but because I knew that one day, this moment would come. "One more thing," Robert said as I picked up my box. "The severance package we discussed. The board has decided it would be more appropriate to allocate those funds to Sarah's signing bonus. I'm sure you understand. Family first, after all. Family first." How many times had I heard those words? When Sarah needed tuition money for her 3rd attempt at college, leaving me to pay my own way. When she crashed her new car and needed a replacement while I took the bus to work. When she decided she wanted my job, and our parents called to tell me how selfish I would be to stand in her way. "Of course," I said, walking past him. "Family first." The elevator ride down was quiet, but my mind was racing. By now, my lawyer would have received my message and started the proceedings. The eviction notice would be delivered first thing tomorrow morning, giving Maxwell Industries exactly 24 hours to vacate the premises. Their lease violation, my wrongful termination, would be clearly documented, along with a detailed record of every instance of workplace discrimination I carefully logged over the years. In the lobby, Katherine Maxwell was waiting with Sarah. My sister was already wearing a new designer suit, probably bought with her signing bonus, my signing bonus. "Oh good, you're leaving," Katherine said, not bothering to hide her disdain. "Daddy said you were being difficult about the office. Sarah needs to start redecorating right away." Sarah at least had the decency to look slightly uncomfortable. "I'll take good care of everything," she said, reaching out as if to pat my arm. I stepped back, adjusting my grip on the box. "I'm sure you will. Just like you took good care of my career." "Don't be dramatic," Katherine rolled her eyes. "It's just business, nothing personal." Nothing personal. Just like it wasn't personal when Sarah told the board I was emotionally unstable. Just like it wasn't personal when she spread rumors about my inappropriate relationship with clients. Just like it wasn't personal when she convinced her parents to support her bid for my position. "You're right," I said, walking toward the exit. "It's just business." Outside, the rain had stopped, but the air was heavy with the promise of more to come. I placed my box in the trunk of my car, not the newest model, not the flashiest, but paid for with my own money. As I closed the trunk, I caught my reflection in the window. I didn't look like someone who had just lost everything. I looked like someone who was about to win. My phone buzzed with a text from my lawyer. "Documents ready. Notice will be served at 9 a.m. tomorrow." "Are you sure about this?" I typed back a single word. "Proceed." Driving home, I thought about tomorrow. About Robert Maxwell's face when he realizes that his company has 24 hours to vacate their headquarters. About Katherine's reaction when she learns that her father's reliable tenant is actually the person they just fired. About Sarah's expression when she understands that her new office isn't hers to redecorate after all. But mostly, I thought about my grandfather's words. True power isn't about having the biggest office. It's about owning the ground beneath their feet. As I pulled into my driveway, a modest house in a quiet neighborhood, nothing that would suggest I owned one of the most valuable commercial properties in the city, another text came through. This one from Sarah. "No hard feelings, right? You understand it's just business. Family dinner on Sunday." I left it unanswered. After tomorrow, there would be plenty of time for family discussions, but for now I had work to do. The documents my lawyer had prepared weren't just about eviction. They detailed every violation, every instance of discrimination, every questionable business practice I'd documented over the years. Maxwell Industries wasn't just losing their headquarters, they were about to face the kind of legal scrutiny that could bring down their entire empire. Inside my house, I went straight to my home office. Unlike the corporate space I just vacated, this room held my real achievements: the deed to the building, the incorporation papers for Phoenix Holdings, the carefully maintained records of every interaction with Maxwell Industries over the past 5 years. I sat down at my desk and opened my laptop. Time to set everything in motion. First, an email to all Maxwell Industries employees, scheduled for tomorrow morning. Due to circumstances beyond our control, all employees are advised to work from home until further notice. Building access will be restricted as of 9 a.m. tomorrow. Next, a press release also scheduled for tomorrow. Phoenix Holdings LC announces immediate termination of lease agreement with Maxwell Industries due to substantial violations of terms. Finally, a message to the building management team instructing them to change all access codes and secure the premises at exactly 9 a.m. My phone buzzed again. A text from my mother. "Sarah told us what happened. We're very disappointed in you. Why couldn't you just help your sister succeed?" I placed the phone face down on my desk. Tomorrow they would understand. Tomorrow they would all understand that success built on betrayal is no success at all. The rain started again, drumming against my window as I finalized the preparations for tomorrow. In less than 24 hours, Maxwell Industries would learn a valuable lesson about underestimating the quiet one, the careful one, the one they thought they could discard. They thought they were firing an employee. Instead, they had just awakened a landlord who had been waiting 5 years for this very moment. And Sarah? Sarah would learn that some games are won long before the other players even know they're playing. I closed my laptop and walked to the window, watching the rain fall in the growing darkness. Tomorrow would be interesting indeed. 9 a.m. couldn't come fast enough. I arrived at the building at 8:30, parking across the street to watch the morning unfold. Maxwell Industries employees were already streaming in, coffee cups in hand, blissfully unaware that their workday was about to take an unexpected turn. At 8:45, I spotted Robert Maxwell's black Mercedes pulling into his reserved parking spot. Sarah's red BMW followed close behind. No doubt they had coordinated their arrival to make her first day as impressive as possible. At exactly 9 a.m., my phone lit up with a series of notifications. The security team confirming the access code changes. The building management system automatically locking all entrance points. And most importantly, a video call from my lawyer showing the eviction notice being served to a very stunned Maxwell Industries receptionist. I watched through my car window as chaos slowly spread through the building. Employees gathering in confused clusters near the entrance. Security guards explaining that their access cards no longer worked. And then the moment I had been waiting for. Robert Maxwell bursting through the front doors, his face red with rage, waving what I knew was the eviction notice. My phone rang. Robert Maxwell's name flashed on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again. Sarah this time. I watched her pacing near the building entrance, phone pressed to her ear, designer suit already showing signs of distress. I declined the call. A third call, Katherine Maxwell. Decline. Then a text from Sarah. What did you do? I stepped out of my car, straightening my jacket. Time to make my entrance. The crowd parted as I approached, whispers spreading like wildfire. Robert Maxwell spun around, eviction notice crumpled in his fist. You, he snarled, realization dawning on his face. Phoenix Holdings. It's you. I smiled, feeling surprisingly calm. Good morning, Mr. Maxwell. I see you've received the notice regarding your lease termination. This is ridiculous, he shouted, waving the paper. You can't just evict us. We have rights. Actually, I pulled out a thick folder from my briefcase. I can. Section 7, Paragraph 3 of your lease agreement clearly states that any violation of corporate governance, including wrongful termination of employees, constitutes grounds for immediate lease termination. Would you like to review the documentation of my termination yesterday? Sarah stepped forward, her confidence visibly shaken. This is insane. You're just trying to get revenge because you couldn't handle me taking your job. Taking my job? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Sarah, you didn't take my job. You conspired with Katherine to spread lies about me. You manipulated our parents into pressuring me to step aside. You stole my severance package, and now, I gestured to the building behind her. Now you have no job at all. Katherine pushed through the crowd, her perfect composure cracking. Daddy, do something. He can't do this to us. But Robert Maxwell was already on his phone, presumably talking to his lawyers. His face grew paler with each passing moment as he presumably learned what I already knew. The eviction was legally binding, and Phoenix Holdings had every right to enforce it. 24 hours, I announced, loud enough for everyone to hear. That's how long you have to vacate the premises. Any belongings left behind after that time will be considered abandoned property. 24 hours, Robert's voice cracked. We can't possibly move an entire company in 24 hours. We have clients, contracts, meetings. The same amount of time you gave me to clear out my office, I reminded him. Nothing personal. Just business, right? Sarah grabbed my arm, her eyes wide with panic. You can't do this to me. I'm your sister. I gently removed her hand. Family first, remember? That's what you always said. Well, this is me putting family first. My family company, Phoenix Holdings. The crowd of employees had grown larger, many filming the scene on their phones. I knew by noon this would be all over social media, but I didn't care. 5 years of careful planning had led to this moment. Oh, and one more thing, I pulled another document from my briefcase. This is a notice of legal action against Maxwell Industries for workplace discrimination, defamation, and breach of contract. My lawyers will be in touch. Robert lunged forward, his face purple with rage, but his daughter held him back. You'll regret this, he spat. I'll bury you in litigation. I smiled, thinking of the extensive documentation I had gathered over the years. Every email, every meeting recording, every piece of evidence carefully preserved. I look forward to discovery, I said calmly. I'm sure the board will be very interested in some of the documents I've collected. That got his attention. He knew exactly what I was referring to. The questionable accounting practices, the insider trading, the systematic discrimination. All of it meticulously documented and ready to be revealed. Now, I checked my watch. You have exactly 23 hours and 45 minutes to vacate the building. I suggest you get started. As I turned to leave, Sarah called out, her voice breaking. What about Sunday dinner? Mom and Dad are expecting us. I stopped and looked back at her. Tell him I'm sorry, but I'll be busy. I have a building to lease to a new tenant, one that understands the value of loyalty and proper business practices. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Moving trucks arrived, employees hurriedly packed their belongings, and executives huddled in corners making frantic phone calls. I watched it all from my lawyer's office across the street, where we were already fielding calls from potential new tenants. By midnight, most of Maxwell Industries had been cleared out. I stood in my old office. Sarah hadn't even had time to redecorate and looked out over the city lights. My phone had been buzzing nonstop with messages from family members. Mom, how could you do this to your sister? Dad, we raised you better than this. Sarah, you've ruined everything. But there was one message that made me smile. A text from my grandfather's old number, saved by my grandmother. Your grandfather would be so proud. He always said you were the one who understood what real power means. The next morning, as Maxwell Industries scrambled to find new office space and deal with the PR nightmare, I sat in my home office reading the news coverage. Maxwell Industries evicted. Family drama turns corporate scandal, screamed one headline. Sister act gone wrong. The ultimate corporate revenge, declared another. But my favorite was from the business section. Phoenix Holdings emerges, the silent giant in real estate. The article detailed how my company had quietly acquired prime properties across the city, with the Maxwell Industries building being just one of many strategic investments. A week later, I received an invitation to a family dinner, not from my parents, but from my grandmother. When I arrived at her house, she was sitting in her favorite chair, a familiar glint in her eye. Your grandfather kept a journal, she said, handing me a worn leather notebook. He wrote about you often, about how you were the only one who understood his lessons about true power and patience. I opened the journal, recognizing his handwriting. My grandson asked me today why I bought old buildings instead of new ones. I told him what my father told me. The real value isn't in what stands above the ground, but in owning the ground itself. He understood. He'll go far, that boy. Sarah called. My grandmother continued, pouring tea. She's moving to another city. Said she can't find work here anymore. Funny how things work out. I nodded, thinking of the offer I'd received that morning from a major tech company wanting to lease the building. Their proposal included plans to create a startup incubator in the lower floors, providing opportunities for young entrepreneurs. You know, my grandmother said thoughtfully, your grandfather always said revenge is a poor man's game. Real success isn't about getting even, it's about getting ahead. I smiled, thinking of the changes I was planning for Phoenix Holdings. It was never about revenge, I told her. It was about justice, and now it's about building something better. As I drove home that evening, I passed the building that had started it all. The Maxwell Industries sign had been removed, leaving a clean slate for whatever would come next. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah, her first message in weeks that wasn't angry or accusatory. I understand now, she wrote, what you built, what you achieved. I'm sorry I tried to take it from you. I never realized how hard you worked for everything. I didn't respond immediately. Some lessons take time to sink in, and some wounds need more than words to heal. But as I parked in my driveway, I thought about my grandfather's words one more time. True power isn't about having the biggest office. It's about owning the ground beneath their feet. And now finally, everyone understood exactly what he meant.